What's unique about St. Croix is our history. It is who we are. Culture is not static, it changes. But what's important to me is that we continuously remind people of the tradition.
This is how we do it in St. Croix!
Welcome to St. Croix. My name is Naydyeyah Acoy-Thomas, and I'm a proud cruising and multimedia maven. Rhythm is the heartbeat of the U.S. Virgin Islands. In St. Croix, music, history, food, and culture come together to create a sound and a spirit unlike any other. The island's signature vibe traces back to its colonial past, when enslaved people carried the beats, stories, and traditions of their homelands. Today, culture bearers continue this legacy, blending influences from across generations to shape the island's music, art, and cuisine. St. Croix is a melting pot with a rhythm all its own. Without voices like Asta Williams, pieces of St. Croix's heritage could be lost. As a fierce guardian of Crucian culture, she has dedicated her life to preserving its traditions, stories, and identity, ensuring they live on for future generations. Today, we meet at the historic Estate Will Museum, a place that holds the echoes of St. Croix's past. With Asta as our guide, we step into the history and spirit that defines this island. Asta, you are a cultural bearer for the island of St. Croix. Honestly, a cultural bearer for the Virgin Islands. Born and raised on St. Croix.
Yeah, was born right across the street.
Right across the street from the Will Museum.
That's right.
Wow.
In State Concordia. I grew up in a house where my mother was culturally oriented. At first, with masquerading and dancing as a child, you didn't get too much in it because they did their own thing. But as you grew, you peep, you watch, you're observing. Masquerading have to do with African culture. It have to do with preparing the village. So no sickness, no evil spirits come into the village. When we do masking, we really cover all parts of our body from, get rid of the evil spirits. They don't know who you really are. You take clothes that you have. You don't go out and buy. People were kind of poor, but they still wanted to enjoy themselves. So they went and maybe they take the scraps from an old dress that was still good, and they glue it or sew it on, and we call it the pichi-pachi. Even your parents did not let you know that they were masquerading. I remember looking at my mother, they're painting their faces and the wire and the stuff, and then they put it in a secluded little bundle and ask a lot of questions. Yeah. No, none of your business. You don't want everyone to know tomorrow, well, that's Miss Williams. You might know because of my dance. You know me because of my shape. But when you get out there, you're not supposed to be saying, oh, Miss Williams, I don't know, I'm not there.
Willard John is an educator introducing new generations to the traditional art of Moko Jumbie stilt dancing. As founder of the Guardians of Culture Moko Jumbie Academy, he has taught hundreds of young people this art form. John's work profoundly shapes cultural preservation and inspires pride across the Virgin Islands. What is a Moko Jumbie?
An entity that's larger than life, that's overwhelming, that is beyond our abilities to see, to feel, to touch, to smell. You have stilt dancers and you have Moko Jumbies. A stilt walker is someone who puts some type of stilts on and they walk around. The Moko Jumbie really is a historical figure. These entities goes back to Africa, a couple of centuries back, and their tallness represented the powers of God. They were considered the spiritual guardian of a village. They would protect the villages from any evil spirits.
And they do the same thing like I am doing here, but we're on the ground. It's an African tradition, and they brought it here with them, and a lot of our people adapted it.
So the Moko Jumbie and the masquerade are all a part of the African mask tradition. So they're related. One is the evolution of the other, but all the mask tradition in which they represent a higher power.
The Moko Jumbie, the masqueraders, and the wild Indians had a special foot movement. When you're dancing, one up, one down, that kind of a rhythmic stuff. You do that because you're going with the drum like the Indians. Anytime I hear that, my foot is going to move to the rhythm of the drums. A lot of the slaves came here with a lot of tradition.
So as you know, Africans were enslaved and brought to this part of the world. And with them came their culture. So that's how the Moko Jumbie got here. Now it changed when it came because the plantation owners did not allow the Africans to practice their indigenous religions. So it changed from being more religious to being more secular and festive. And that is why today, throughout the whole Caribbean, the Moko Jumbies are noted for being a part of carnival parades, festivals, and the like.
Culture on St. Croix isn't just something you see, it's something you taste. The island's food tells a story of its own, and there's no better place to experience that than La Reine Chicken Shack, a beloved local spot that brings people and flavors together. We sat down for a bite with Rashidi Clenance, owner of Vivid Streaming, an online radio platform that promotes music from the Virgin Islands. Yes, what do you have on your plate this afternoon?
If the name of the item is in the name of the business, you should always lean with that.
Yes.
But you couldn't go wrong with some roast pork, some pot fish.
Chicken Shack brings a different vibe, and they've been in business for a very long time. But I would consider them a more Crujan, Rican type of vibes.
We got a lot of folks from Puerto Rico, Vieques that moved to the Virgin Islands. This is one of those spots where people of all backgrounds come. You're gonna find judges here, politicians here. This is one of these unique places where the cultures come together. So that's why I like to come here.
Well, we have here our local rotisserie chicken. We put it in a bowl. It's a process. It takes about an hour, hour and a half. So as soon as the back of the chicken starts to break apart, that's how we know the chicken is ready. We also are known for our barbecue ribs, pot fish, salmon balls. We try to keep it diverse, Crucian and mixed with Latin. So to chicken, our figs, mollejitas, and and in Crucian we do our calalu, fried fish. The love that we have, that we give to the community, and people keep coming back. That's what makes us happy.
This establishment has been around for so long. The standard is so high. The quality of food is always the same. And the consistency in our music is the same too. And I feel like that's what makes us so special. Even if you got a brand new artist that's just coming out, he can be to a certain standard at this point. The way we are taking and pulling from our different cultures, because it's a melting pot. Even locally, you think about songs like "There We Go." The uniqueness of first incorporating that rich Spanish sound into a Virgin Islands calypso is a beautiful thing. So that's where we mix the culinary commonalities with the music. as a radio host. There's challenges with doing this, but I feel like it is worth the challenge because the music is so rich, the culture is so rich.
For Vio International, culture is central to their music. Their infectious rhythms of soca and calypso have been shaping the Cinque music scene for over 30 years. Mr. Alwyn Baptiste Jr., you are the creator of Vio International, is that true?
It's true.
You have been a pioneer in changing the sound of the Virgin Islands. How long have you been doing this?
I have been doing this, I kind of stopped counting because it's more than 30, so I'll just leave it as that.
Yes,
more than
30 plus.
30 plus. These guys here are my brothers. I have been around with these guys, especially Joni from second grade. So we've been through a lot together. I have been blessed as Daddy Jones, to be honest. We've created something that I could call mine and we could call ours. Up until this point, it's identifiable, it's noticeable. A lot of what it is I've done is replicated today. It's still being used by other bands, which is humbling. I love when I go out and I see the way it is that the music that we've done and I've produced with the KSB and I see other people doing it, it's humbling. I am very cultural. Almost 90% of what I do is because I believe in the culture.
Okay, Melody, this is time for jamming.
I don't just do the jam, I do calypso, I still do zouk, I still do all kind of different, even though it's still considered in the soca market with the KCB. So the culture of the music means more to me than a lot of things. I could have gone to the States and did R&B. I could have gone and do rap. I could have produced for anything that I put my mind that I wanted to do. But the culture, this is what it is I love. This is what it is I hear. We have done salsa in soca. We have done reggae in soca. We have done just about R&B in soca. You know, so we bridge all this thing that makes it ours. That's what I'm most proud about, especially when I think about different cultures. We have, Dominican have their song, Kitchen has this song, Tika has this song, and Virgin Islands, especially Cinque. And somehow I've learned to bridge that. But the culture is really everything for me, everything.
Being in the US Virgin Islands, we have people that come from all over the world to live here, to pass through, and they bring their music with them.
Kamala, Uganda.
Everything in Crucian culture, if you go back, music is what they used to convey the message.
When they brought slaves here, one of the things the slave did was drum. And drumming music played three important roles in African society. It was a form of worship, it was a form of communication, and it was a form of entertainment. The communication part is the thing, you know? And at some point in time during slavery, the plantation owners forbid them from beating the drums because they were sending messages to each other. We're gonna have a meeting tonight at such and such a location, all through drum music. So the music played such an important role in our history. Also, I could tell you something as simple as the blowing of the conch shell. That really now is symbolic of freedom, because you would blow that conch shell calling people. When the fishermen used to come up with fish, they blow the conch shell, let you know the fish is here, come and get it.
Yeah.
So depending on how you blow the shell and when and where you blow the shell, people know what the message is. chose a means of communicating to the public. So we started out with the original African tradition of drumming and so forth.
Yes.
Then we came on the quelbe music, which is our indigenous form of music, which is really a combination of these African rhythms with the European fife and drum and
Yes.
so forth and so on. And we combined that and came up with this hybrid that we call quelbe music. When the Europeans came, they called it scratch music. The reason being that instrument, the gourd that they use, that they scrape and have that scratch sound. So because of that sound, they call it scratch music, but we call it quelbe music. And then from there, we have calypso. That evolved into calypso,
Yes.
which evolved into soca.
In the 80s, calypso was based on the beat, where it was like boop, boop, stuk, 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 right? And then at the same time, calypso is based on the message.
Yeah, we're gonna start off with a quick acapella. I see them seeking with all their might to acquire jackies of life. Slave market trade, every life has a price. Manipulate and control through vain device.
Because when you talk to the guys that are calypsonians, they are not going to necessarily sing about partying and about jumping up. They're going to sing about politics, about politicians, about current events. Why is our light bill so high? Why are things so hard? That's what calypso would be.
Them nuclear program, them building swine for human organs, with terrorists as them slogan, with the ethnic cleansing, and refugee camp fencing, big corporate fraud, big military spending. We still got to shut them down. Who can say I'm wrong? Who can say I'm wrong? Give thanks.
Now, soca, the actual word soca was actually taken from soul of calypso. But what they did was they took calypso and they broke it down a little bit, but made it about partying.
Francis, start man, last going to check a pen. I saw this girl I can't forget, really dazzling.
It has to be danceable. It has to be. Calypso is something that you sit down and you listen to hear the message. But soca is about moving your body. It's about moving people. If you don't move, you ain't soca.
Soca frenzy, soca frenzy.
And even now, I am doing calypso now, and even my clients for the calypso, I tell them, listen, I'm doing dance music, eh?
Soca frenzy.
I am thinking, you know what I mean? I am in the club and I bump it. That's what soca is and calypso is. We like to feel the energy. I don't know if any other music, maybe the closest thing, maybe like an EDM. EDM has that kind of a drive. We get there, that have most of the kick and the rhythm. There's some jungle music and there's some other stuff that's fit. But soca has that kind of an energy. Especially how we do it. I mean, there's some people just tame it down, but we really go hard in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but like I said, we like to see them girls walking up, to be honest with you. We love it. We love it. We love it.
Soca frenzy.
I see now that many of the youngsters are trying to incorporate as much of it as possible in what they're doing. You oftentimes hear that African beat in their music infused with that modern beat.
For me, even for now, after doing it for 30 years, that's what I look forward to. Who's going to take it to another level? For me, everything is got to be recognizable. I think at this point now, we know what Daddy Jones has done, and he has a sound with the KSB, and I'm looking for that in the other producers. That's what I'm looking for in this generation, and hoping for the best for it.
In everything we do in our culture, in St. Croix, in the Virgin Islands, we try to do it around music to get the most impact.
Culture is dynamic, it changes. What's important to me is that we continuously remind people of the tradition and that we continuously promote and preserve it. So we got to get outside of the Virgin Islands. We got to let everybody know what our story is.
St. Croix's culture bearers don't just remember history, they keep it alive. Through stories, flavors, and rhythms passed through generations, they ensure that the island's soul never fades. This is more than tradition. It is an inheritance, a heartbeat carried forward. It's resilience, it's identity, it's the rhythm of St. Croix. On our next episode, we'll see how that legacy of resistance isn't just preserved, it's amplified by the island's boldest voices, shaping the future as powerfully as it honors the past.
When them odds stack against you, remember you're special. Lose never, that every L is a lesson. Can't trust a soul that is out of the question. Shots hit the right, had to talk, had to get low. Thing happen, shut up booming like it's metro. Head to the sky, add a pep to your step to. When you feeling low, go high, head up, high, keep your head up, high. When the odds stack against you, remember you're special. High, head up, high, keep your head up, high. When you're feeling low, go keep your head up, keep your head up, Blood catch us, boy catch a blood.